Hello, Perfect Death here, bringing another Ragnarok Online mobile video. This time I'm going to go a bit more in depth into one of the armor options in particular that I've been using and got a bit of experience with that I found people are pretty curious about, and that is the Legion Plate Armor. This is considered a fairly late game armor because it's expensive, and I'll go into that as one of the cons later on. But as an armor, it's evolved from the mithril metal armor, and once you fully tier this up, you get the Legion Plate armor. So its price will always be based on the materials needed to craft it and evolve it. And the general role of this is kind of interesting because it has some very interesting stats on it. It has very high defense for an armor. A lot of other later tier armors don't quite have as much defense as the Legion Plate does, and Legion Plate will even get some upgrades in future episodes to further improve on its effectiveness. But currently, in the episode 4 that Global is in, the armor will just have no upgrade tiers. So aside from the defense, it gives you some vitality. Not quite as much vitality as like the Goybean set, but it's still plus 6 vitality and plus 15% maximum HP. One of the interesting things that the Legion Plate Armor brings is the refine bonuses. So for 5, 10, 15 refine, you get reduced critical damage. So with all, if you were to get this to plus 15, you would have 30% crit damage reduction, which is quite a lot. And that makes it particularly good against critical builds in PvP. It's not so useful in PvE. I do find some bosses will hit for critical damage, but in general it's PvP that you're going to be facing a lot of crits. So an ADL, sniper, ranger, they used to be a really common in War of Imperium, but they'll find them in PvP. And so if you were to have this thing plus 10 or plus 15, then that's just going to drop their crit damage a huge amount. But getting it to that point is very expensive. I remember seeing a plus 10 Legion Plate sitting on the exchange a while ago, and it was 81 million zenny. So that is something to consider with this. If you wanted to make one of these and you want to try to get as highly refined as possible, you would want to start with the mithril armor and refine that up to plus 10 and then evolve it so that you get a plus 8. And that way the trip to plus 10 from a plus 8 is much more agreeable with this armor. So with those bits out of the way, the next interesting thing about this is the set effect. If you have this paired with a Sacred Mission, you get 20% healing received. And this kind of solidifies one of its roles as a fairly useful armor, because if you are running like a heal build like I've done, the Sacred Mission already boosts your own heal, and then this boosts heal received. Therefore, it's just a really strong self-healing build. But if you were to rely on this without the Sacred Mission, you would not get the extra healing received, but that might not be an issue. It really depends on what sort of attribute you want to use this for, whether it's for max HP or the crit damage combo, the extra vitality and defense. The defense for Royal Guard is useful due to Earth Drive needing defense to do more damage, so that's always a plus there. This has one of the highest for that, so if I were to go to like Garmin's at 80, Meteor is 33, so you have some different armors. This one comes close to the Imperial armor, but in general the Legion Plate has very high defense, and so does Sacred Mission. So if you're using them both together, then you can get very high defense. So to cover the costs of how to get this guy built, I'll actually just bring this over here. So to make one, you will need 1 mithril metal armor, 30 orcish vouchers, 2 heroic emblems, 105 skeleton bones, 65 mercury, 30 broken blades, 2 rose quartz, 50 armored shards, 45 memory gems, 2 keys of clock tower, 145 glitter shells, 650 witch star dust, 2 time twisters, and 700 temporal crystal. And so it's the key of clock towers and the time twisters that I feel take up about half of its price. Time twisters are about 1 million each. Key of clock towers generally are around 700,000. So with that, you're looking at almost for somewhere between 3 and 4 million. And so the crafting price for this is 6 million currently. So with all of that, if you wanted to slot this armor, then you're going to need 10 extra. So that's going to go up by another 60 million. So you'll have this easily costing, 66 million for a slotted Legion plate armor. And it's that price for just slotting one, because that's not even including the refining costs as well. Because if you wanted to safe refine, then you would need to feed it more Legion plate, or if you were to just do it with the mithril, then that would be considerably cheaper. So this guy is definitely a very expensive piece of armor, and that makes it so that a lot of people either just settle for the mithril because it still gives you a plus 10% HP there, and then at tier 3 it's the plus 15%. Evolving it only really gives you the crit bonus and gives you the set bonus, right? So running just a normal mithril metal armor and then slotting that is not bad. That, like I said, especially if you're not using a sacred mission, you can just sit on a mithril metal and it'll be still pretty good. So that is still on the table, an option for people to use if you don't want to then, because I believe for the Legion plate, because if you scroll down here, the time twisters, 20 memory gems, 2 time twisters, 75 glitter shell, and 700 temporal crystals are the materials that you need to evolve the mithril metal into a Legion plate. So it's going to be considerably cheaper to just stick to a mithril if you don't want to get the set bonus or the crit bonuses. This will still give you a crit resistance, or crit damage resistance from the plus 5 and from the plus 10. So it's not entirely a loss to just stick to a mithril metal, and I often do see a lot of people still running a mithril metal armor option. Eventually, though, like I said, in future updates, it will improve. You will get more heal and heal received, I believe, along with much more defense. So, but who knows how long it'll take for this to show up there. So currently I'm running this on my Paladin at a plus 6. So with a slotted plus 6, it's 69 million. So you do gain a lot of value in just one piece of armor. And for a lot of people, you could invest that money in other areas. And the higher defense is generally mitigated by a lot of people who run a build that has a lot of defense ignore. A lot of people run defense ignore. So the only real benefit of having that if you're fighting somebody with defense ignores, of course, that it buffs the effect of Earth Drive, where your defense deals damage. So I'll probably cover another armor in another video. There's a couple others that I have been looking at, particularly like the Meteorite Armor, the Garment Plate Armor, and the Staunch Armor. There's of course the Goybeans Armor and Imperial Armor. So there's a bit of variety to look through. So that'll be it for this video. Take care.